Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin With Web Show. I'm GW Pomacher. Thanks for logging on and tuning in. If you haven't already, go on down and hit subscribe for us. We'd love it when you do that. Come back over and over and over again. We are here at the Historical Miniature Gaming Society's South Recon 2017, and we are walking around checking out some amazing tabletop games, miniatures games, just fantastic stuff. So we're going to walk around here a little bit and find out about some of these games. We hope you'll come on along and see who we're hanging with next. Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show. I'm GW Pomacher. We're on the floor of Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniatures Gaming Society South, and we're here hanging out with Bob. Bob, how are you today?
Just fine. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. This is your game here behind.
It is.
Right? Yeah, this is the Encounter at Lake George.
That's correct.
All
French
right.
and Indian War.
Tell us a little bit, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about the battle that inspired this game, and then you can kind of walk us through the setting here, if you will.
All right. Essentially, the game is about the Americans whose camp is down at Lake George, have been cut off by French that are in between them and their home base at Fort Edward.
Fort Edward, okay. So we've got some armies here on the field.
The French, and they have cut off the Americans from their base. Now the Americans have decisions to make. They can either send people around French Mountain here to cut the French off, or they can build fortifications to defend their camp, or they can attack the French.
Okay, so we got Lake George down there.
That's Lake George down there.
Are lined up here.
Yeah.
We have a French army here.
That's a French regiment, Languedoc. Those are regulars. These are Canadian militia units, and they will be in the woods somewhere. The Americans will not know where they are. They'll be hidden. Those are Hurons. Yeah, they will also be in the woods, hidden.
Okay. Now, for gameplay purposes, okay, players will pick a side, right?
Right.
Okay. And it'll be, how is it? Is it a roll of the dice? How does this work in terms of moving up the battlefield?
Right. Well, you have a rule set which is dice driven.
Okay.
So if you want to move, you have to roll dice to see how far you move.
Okay. Now we've noticed a lot of the tabletop gaming in here today is measurement based. So it with a ruler or yardstick, or is that how your movements are?
Yeah, I've got rulers and tape measures to handle the measuring part of it.
Is there a specific part of the board where players are able to move more freely, or can they move around the outer edges here? Can our Americans sneak up through the woods here?
No, not really.
Not really.
The reason for it is because those three provincial regiments over there are all in formed line. They cannot get out of that formation because they're trained to fight that way. These guys over here, the militia, they're in loose order. They're called irregulars, and they can get into the woods.
So they can come over here
without penalty.
But our regiment, we're coming right up the middle here.
Right, and same for the Languedoc. If they go into the woods, they have penalties too. But the militia and the Indians can go into the woods and move freely.
Let's remind the World Wide Web, who actually wins this battle in history?
Actually, the French.
Okay. Can we win this time?
It all depends on what the Americans do. I mean, every time I run the game, it's always a different ending. Yeah, because
always a different outcome.
You never know. The problem the Americans have is whether they're going to split their forces up and try to.
I was going to say we have. It seems on this particular playing field we have limited movements. Our regiment has to come up through the middle. We have a limited militia. They've got a whole Native American group back here that's going to just whomp us.
Yeah, those are warrior Indians. They're very, very good.
And the Hurons were amazing warriors. Yeah, they were amazing warriors. So changing history when you're playing this game is not an easy task.
That's correct. That's correct. Plus, you got the Americans down there. Some of their morale is not as good as the French either. Some are raw, green militia, In other words, they're like farmers and shopkeepers that are been pressed into service, and they're.
And this is not a battlefield from the looks of it that you want to come out with your pitchfork. You really want to be trained as much as possible to hit this terrain.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, Bob, for sharing your game with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And folks, we're here at Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniatures Gaming Society. We've been hanging with Bob, talking about the encounter at Lake George. If you're a gamer, check this out the next time you're at a convention. Where are you going to be up the road? Are you going to Hurricane this year?
I am going to Hurricane later. I'm going up to Historicon in July. I'm going to NashCon in Franklin, Tennessee in June.
Wow, fantastic. We're going to put those links. About 8 a year. Wow. That's a lot of travel, man.
Yeah, I'm retired, so that's what I do.
Are you traveling with Encounter at Lake George specifically, or do you take multiple games different places?
I change the games around depending on what convention I'm going to.
Is the French and Indian War or the 1700s time period, is that something that you're particular to, or do you do different gaming?
I do, and I do American Civil War. I do American Civil War ironclads on the river. I do Russo-Japanese pre-dreadnoughts.
Wow.
And I do it in different scales. This is a 40 millimeter scale. I also do it in 25 millimeter scale.
Wow, fantastic. We're going to put those links for those conferences and conventions down below in the description. Check those out. Maybe you can change history and play Encounter at Lake George or one of these other games that Bob are hosting up the road. Thank you so much. Stay tuned, log on, see who we're hanging with next. Hey, World Wide Web, we're here on the floor of Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniature Gaming Society South, and we're here with Webb Pierce, who is hosting the Congo game. The theme of this year is Africa, is that correct?
Africa is the theme, and Congo, what better could we do than have that?
Absolutely. Well, take us through this a little bit. What are the rules? What is the basic premise of this game?
This is not a war game. This is what they call an adventure. This is a French company called Studio Tomahawk who produces these rules. This is set in the 1850s, 1860s, and it's a journey through to a hidden treasure.
Journey to a hidden treasure. Okay.
A couple of African tribes they're trying to get to. We have Zanzibari traders. We have the white adventurers, so that's what they call them, the white adventurers, all vying to dig up this treasure and carry it back. This is the treasure of Makoko Mbe, a chieftain who controlled this area once upon a time and left a buried treasure at the totem that you see there.
Okay, so each player is trying to get to that totem to grab that hidden treasure. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm seeing the markers here, the Congo markers. What are they used for?
These are measuring for range and for movement.
Okay, and this is a dice-based system?
Yes, it's actually cards, and then you use the dice. These are your actions you can take, movement or shooting. Then you use the dice to resolve the actions.
Okay, so the cards will tell you what you're trying to do, and then the dice will tell you if you did it or not. Okay, exactly. And then these mark where your paths are on your way to your journey. Is that the idea?
The movement and the ranges. Some are armed people with guns, some are armed with bows, and these reflect the ranges on these two markers right here. The movement markers are smaller ones.
And has this game been going all weekend, or is this just been going for the last couple hours?
This is just this afternoon.
Okay, fantastic, man. So it's been a year since we talked to you last, okay? How's the year been for you?
It's been a busy year for me, very busy year.
Yeah.
Tax season just finished, and so I'm paroled for...
You got a little bit of a break to do what you enjoy doing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're going to let you get back to it. Webb, thank you so much for hanging with us again. And folks, we're here on the floor of Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniature Gaming Society South. We just got to talk with Webb Pierce again. We talked to him last year. Check that episode out if you haven't already. And we're watching them play Congo. And the theme of this year's event has been the African frontier. So this is a great game here, and one of many awesome creative games here on the floor of the Historical Miniature Gaming Society South, Recon 2017. Check out the rest of our webisodes. Remember, folks, subscribe, log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next. Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin' With Web Show. I'm GW Pomacher. We're coming to you from the floor of Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniature Gaming Society South Chapter. And we're here hanging with Rick Parrish. Rick, thanks for hanging with us, man.
Sure enough.
Really appreciate it. I know you're busy putting a tournament together for these guys.
Right.
Tell us about this gameplay right here.
Flames of War is a World War II simulation using 15 millimeter figures, and each person puts together a list from whichever nation that they want from that period. Okay. And it's either early war, mid-war, or late war. You know, it's all set up by dates. And this happens to be a late war tournament, so we've got German, American, British, and Soviet troops. Wow. Oh, and one Romanian.
All right, wow. So this is one of the tables right here, right? Okay. So is it a particular battle that we're looking at right here, or?
No particular battle, really, but, okay, this is a winter table, so you think Battle of the Bulge type, okay? And depending on the scenario, there will be an objective that one side has to get, the other side has to defend.
Okay.
And there are, movement parameters. You got woods here, you got a road, which will go faster, you got train tracks, which can have a problem, certain units trying to moving across. And and so, the two sides will line up and have at it.
All right, so now we have multiple tables in this tournament. Okay, so we have how many?
5 tables.
5 tables. Now each one, it looks like it represents a different set of terrain, a different part of the geographic area of the war.
It could be Western Europe or Eastern Europe, either way. Same way with this one, but being winter, it's probably Western Europe. Over here, yes, Western Europe, maybe southern, like northern Italy, something like that, or southern part of France. Same way.
Now, my last tour in Europe, I don't remember the giant beer bottle, but
yes,
we improvise.
We improvise, yeah. we take a few liberties.
Well, we could just be in the fatherland there for a little while.
And over here, we got table that I put together, which is probably France when you look at the church, and then a bombed out monastery up there. And then finally over there, kind of open field, France 1944, maybe something like that.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, and all these games are happening, each one of these tables is an individual game happening simultaneously. Okay, now it's a tournament, so how does that work exactly? Do you move from one table to the other?
Started this morning. And everybody, the 10 people played each other on the 5 tables. And we took the winners to play winners, losers play losers in the second round. And then we lined them up so that the top 2 players will play each other, then third and fourth and fifth and sixth to try and, we'll get an ultimate winner.
And you started the tournament this morning. Okay. Do we have a leaderboard? Who's in the lead here so far?
Okay, right now, our leader table is this table here. Okay. We have Leo Cologne with 16 points, and Kevin, I believe, has 14 points.
Oh, wow.
Alan is right behind him with 12, and his opponent, Mike, has 11.
Wow. Okay, so, and now this next round, is this the final round?
Yes.
Okay. And just for fun, are there prizes? How is the tournament working?
Some prizes. We have a prize pool. Everybody put in $10, and all that money is going to go towards prize pool.
Okay, can you tell us where that lockbox is real quick?
It's over there in front of my table.
Well guarded.
That's where the prizes are. The money's elsewhere.
Oh, well, we had to give it a try. Folks, we are on the floor of Recon 2017, hosted by the Historical Miniature Gaming Society South. We're sitting here chatting with Rick Parrish, who is one of my favorite college professors, by the way. So thank you, Rick. Thanks for bringing us into Recon, too. We've had a great time. And we're going to check back with you later on. We'll let you know who won the tournament, all right? So log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next. Hello, World Wide Web. I'm GW Palmature, and we are here hanging with our friend Pete Panzeri, who is hosting the Battle of Midway game. All right. Hey, Pete, how's it going over here, man?
Good, but before we can talk about Midway, you're going to be the American commander, and I will be...
Hi.
That's the only Japanese other than Sayonara, but that's at the end of the interview.
Yeah. So I tell you what, walk us through the game here a little bit.
Sure, I always have to have a stick for people that are out of line like you. All right. This is the island of Midway, and in the naval battle, the Americans, they sank 4 of the Japanese 4 fleet carriers, so the Japanese went home and didn't invade. So what we did is we fought the naval battle, and the Japanese didn't sink the 4 carriers. So now the Japanese get to invade. The island of Midway it's the northwest of Hawaii, which would have made it very hard for the Americans to win the war as early as we did. So we have the island with an airfield.
Wow. Come
And we have the
great miniatures here.
the support stuff. But that's about it.
Okay, so. All right. So, when gameplay is enacted here, what are our players doing?
Well, what I do is I have miniatures of the armies of both sides. Japanese, you can see little Japanese flags on there. And I have Americans, and we'll basically roll dice to determine the outcome of what normally would happen. For instance, you say, I want to shoot from here to there. You look on a chart. Oh, you get to roll 2 dice. You roll it. You see if you got a hit or not. And you do that. Goes back and forth until somebody gives up, cries uncle, or otherwise is too drunk to continue playing. Well, that's if they're drinking sake.
Well, I'll tell you what. How long does it take to set this game up?
Well, I'm 50. How old am I? I'm pretty old. It took a long time. You mean I started when I was little? You mean like today? Oh well, today about 2 hours.
About 2 hours. Fantastic. And now each of the players here will take a position somewhere on this.
Right. We'll set up a scenario of their starting point. In our case, the Japanese are coming from a fleet at sea, so they have to wade ashore over the reef.
Wow. Fantastic stuff here. These are amazing pieces. Just to set up for the game in 2 hours. You had to make all this stuff and design all this. You're pretty big. I know. We know that you're pretty on historical accuracy in your figures and things like that. How close to Midway is this miniaturized?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'll text you a picture, you can kind of compare it, but it's the same shape of the island and all, except that mine is only about 3 feet wide and the original one is like 1.5 miles. So I guess
I was stationed.
Scale is 3 feet to a mile. Hey,
I was stationed in Hawaii, so I think all islands feel about 3 feet long.
They do, yeah. After you've been on an island for about a week, they feel about 3 inches, right? Yeah.
So outstanding, man. Pete, thank you so much for hanging with us again from the floor here.
Right.
We're on the floor at Recon 2017.